We're not live. All right, guys. On the mat with Guy and Rob, episode 68. Topic for today is 5 reasons why you should enroll your child into BJJ.
Yep.
And if you don't know what BJJ is, that's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I guess. Cool.
Number one, BJJ shows kids how to handle bullies. And so our approach to, or the reason we feel like Jiu-Jitsu is one of the better arts to teach kids is because we don't want to beat the bully up, so to speak. We want to handle confrontations in a less non-violent way, I guess is the best way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, bullies have been around forever, and it's just is what it is, I guess.
Right.
You know.
So the skill for kids to be able to deal with bullies is not only physical, but also emotional, mental, that kind of thing. Here at our school, and we can't speak for all Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu schools, but the way we teach the kids on how to deal with bullies, and we kind of rotate this type of curriculum in, is that we teach what's called the 3 T's. Talk, tell, tackle. So it's actually a step-by-step process, a strategy on how you would teach a child on how to deal with a bully. If the kid's getting bullied, the first step is to talk to the bully. Stand up for yourself. Tell them to leave you alone, right? The second T is tell. So telling would be telling a trusted adult, a teacher, a parent, a bus driver, or whoever that can intervene and help in that situation. If the bullying still continues, then the goal is to tackle. And that doesn't necessarily mean physical even at that point, but basically you're just kind of taking it up a notch in terms of defending yourself verbally against the bullies.
And then eventually physical if you have to.
Correct. And what Rob was alluding to earlier is that if it does get physical, if a bully were to physically attack, which is not very high percentage-wise, and most bullying is verbal, but if they was to go physical, the kids are learning jiu-jitsu so that they can not only defend themselves, but also not have to hurt the other child.
Right. Do it in a way where. In a neutral way where you can, if you don't know what jiu-jitsu is, it's a grappling martial arts. You want to take the bully down, hold him down, have a little conversation with him, but without having to hurt him.
Correct.
If we need to apply some type of submissions to control from a pain compliance standpoint, we will do that. But we don't want to have to rely on punches and kicks to neutralize a threat that's coming at us, i.e. a bully that's swinging and doing those kind of things. So.
Yeah. So, number 2, BJJ teaches kids to learn from their failures. Unlike other activities, and even some other martial arts, children are going to be working with other children at some point in a resisting fashion, right? So, there's going to be a winner and there's going to be a loser immediately, right? If we're doing a drill where child A's goal is to pass child B's guard, well, either they're going to pass or they're not going to pass. If they don't pass, then that's could be considered a failure, right? In their eyes. We know that it takes time to get good at jiu-jitsu and whatnot, but so kids are going to learn right away the concept of failure and, more important, how to overcome that failure, right? And so part of our job to help the children is to learn that you're not going to be good at it right away. It takes time in order to improve and find confidence and competence in their skills.
Excellent. And the thing is, when you're, we were watching another video we did a long time ago, and we have mentioned and alluded to jiu-jitsu and martial arts in general is a good crossover between individual sports and group sports, in the sense of, when it comes time to actually perform, you're doing it on an individual basis, but you practice in a team environment and you work out in a team environment. So with the guidance of an instructor, and when you do have these times where you're going to struggle and you're not doing so great and you're not on your A game,
right.
We have coaches and instructors here who will assist and guide and give encouragement. I had to do the same thing last night with someone who was relatively new, and they were having a hard time with struggling with the physicality of jiu-jitsu and being dominated in a way like, I didn't know that was going to happen, So
Right.
we're here to guide and coach and encourage the kids through that process.
That's it. All right. So I'm sorry. Number 3, help kids. BJJ helps kids to socialize. Now, a lot of activities will help kids socialize, but in this environment, when you're working one-on-one with a partner, you can't really do jiu-jitsu by yourself. It is what it is. You have to have a partner, and at times, we're gonna make kids work with a variety of training partners. It's important for them to be able to learn that you can't always work with the same kid. Like, just because I get along with this one, but I don't get along with that one, you have to learn to be able to work with those other kids in this environment. Right. So that one thing they're learning in that process is to learn diversity, So no matter who's in the class on that given day, you could potentially be working with anybody. And that's a skill everybody needs to learn, not just the kids.
Yeah, and you're going to build bonds with these other kids. They become oftentimes friends outside of the class. And there's a lot of trust that goes in with, especially with jiu-jitsu, and the fact that we are grappling with each other and we're doing these submissions and whatnot. There's a lot of trust that goes along with that, and you have to really trust your partner in order to, because their safety's in your hands. Your safety's in their hands. Sorry, I misspoke.
So there's a trust both ways. Like, if I tap, I'm trusting that you'll let go. And if I'm doing the submission, I am also relying on you to let me know, hey, it hurts.
And it's not just about them socializing with other kids. Like, here at our academy, we really break down. There's some schools that have large age, a span of ages, right? From 5 to 12, they're all in one class. We do it within a 3-year span.
Correct. So we do 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then a teens program.
Right, correct. So it's not just because, well, it's for a couple of reasons. One, we want to keep them as close in age as possible from a social standpoint, from a standpoint of where they are developmentally in their youth. But also, typically, we keep them in that similar age range because they're going to be similar in size, usually. I mean, there are anomalies where 12-year-olds huge and whatnot, but physically they're really close in size because this is a grappling martial art. It helps in that respect. But one more point to bring out when it comes to socialization, it's not just about them socializing with other kids, they're similar age, but it's also about socializing with adults. So the instructors, the coaches, the assistant instructors, they're actually learning how to socialize with an adult and respond to them in appropriate manners, and to get guidance from someone who's not mom and dad.
That's
which
right.
is important.
Yeah. Number 4, BJJ improves kids' coordination and motor skills, right? So like any other, like other activities, baseball, football, soccer, and things, they're going to learn some coordination, right? But the way we develop that in jiu-jitsu is that when the kids are learning techniques, it's usually broken down. Jiu-jitsu technique isn't just one move. It's not like, boom, throw a punch. That's it, right? I mean, even a punch, you can break down the mechanics a little bit. But in jiu-jitsu, there are multi-steps to a said technique. So we'll use an example, something we call the scissor sweep. Well, the scissor sweep can be 3 to 5 steps, depending on how you break it down. In its simplest terms, you could break it into 3 steps. You get your grips, you move your hips out, you get your legs in position, and then you scissor and you come up on top. 3 steps, right? So for the kids to learn the coordination to be able to do those kind of techniques takes time, right? So one of the things we try to focus on, especially in the earlier age groups, is to focus more on gross motor movement skills, right? Fine motor skills come with time, come with age. We can't expect a 4-year-old to have the same fine motor skills as a 11 or 12-year-old, right? And the same thing for the gross motor skills. But it's important that the kids understand that these are steps to the process, that there is a correct sequence of steps. But in the process of doing that, by doing these different drills, these different techniques, different exercises that we do, when we do our warm-ups, we'll do a lot of the warm-ups and the movements that we do, we give them animal names, so that way the kids, it's fun for the kids. It kind of visually explains what it looks like. So when you're doing the monkey drill, you look like you're a monkey going down doing that route. You're doing a shrimp move, you look like a little shrimp going down the mat, right? So those gross motor movement skills are very important for the kids to learn overall gross motor movements, but they have a context in terms of how it's going to apply. Most of the movements we do, besides like a jumping jack for warm-ups and stuff, but these other movements, do have a direct impact on the jiu-jitsu, right? And
Right.
yeah.
And so what's important to understand too is when they first come in, they're having to learn how to control their own body in the context of some space, right? A lot of kids can't even control their own body movement, much less when you connect them with someone else and they're having to manipulate the other person. Over time, they will gain control of their own body, their ability to move their weight appropriately, things of this nature, and then eventually they'll be able to grapple more successfully with another kid and manipulate their weight in space.
Yep. And number 5, BJJ helps kids build healthy lifestyles, basically, right? So by being active, by coming in and participating in classes, going through the exercises, the warm-ups, the drills, the stretching, and just the overall class itself, it's going to teach them that exercise is important. This is something you should do on a weekly basis, multiple times a week, whether it's jiu-jitsu or whatever, but jiu-jitsu kind of is the vehicle in which we teach them the importance of healthy lifestyle, right? Not only physical, but we also talk about, in some of our classes, especially as they start moving through the ranks and the kids are considering competing, we talk about we did a training year before last where we actually had it looked like a coloring sheet, and the kids' homework assignment was to go through and color, well, how many meats did you eat? How many carbs did you eat? It's broken down simple for kids' terms. How many sweets did you eat? How many desserts did you eat over the course of the week? So that they can come in and track and see what they're putting into their body, right? So it's not only the physical exercise that they give them, but also what they put into their body, right? And the other thing too is that with our life skills program, our Code of 26, we're talking about these kind of things. Not only when you think of a life skill like patience or integrity or trust or things of these nature, right? We're not only teaching that, but there are some of those terms where we get into more essential like life skills and lifestyle habits in those Code of 26. So,
Good.
yep, cool.
And those are the 5 reasons.
Right. And we'll go through them real quick one more time, guys. So number 1, BJJ shows kids how to handle bullies. BJJ teaches kids to learn from their failures. It helps them to build socialization skills. It helps kids socialize, basically, improve kids' coordination and motor skills, and how to build healthy lifestyles, habits. Right. That's it.
If you have any questions, let us know.
All right, guys.
We appreciate you
We
being
appreciate
on.
you watching.
Boom.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys later.